Happy Fantasy Friday. It's time for book club. We are Lindsey,
Kelly,
and Katharine, and this is the Banner and Bookmarks podcast. We are three book besties diving into romantasy with unhinged theories and a bit of spice.
Heads up, this podcast contains spoilers. If you would like a spoiler-free introduction to the book, go back and listen to episode 1, our world-building episode for this series. But for now, we will be covering all things Direbound, and it will absolutely be full of spoilers.
So pour yourself a drink, some sweet tea this time. Come escape reality with us, and let's talk about books. Today, we are very excited. We are going to be discussing chapters 1 through 15 of Direbound, which, if you notice, is a very large chunk of chapters, right? So this series for Direbound that we're doing is 5 total episodes. We did 1 world building episode, and then the rest of the book we are splitting up into 4 chunks. So we're going to see how this outline goes from page to podcast here. Bear with us if this is a long one. It's going to be worth it.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to start off by summarizing chapters 1 through 15. Katharine, are you ready to start?
Let's do this. Meryn Cooper is the infamous alley cat of the Eastern Quarter. She is one badass underground street fighter, along with her trainer neighbor Igor and her boyfriend Lee. Meryn's family is poor, and she fights in between her shifts at the laundry so she can earn extra money it takes to support her mentally ill mother and her younger sister, Selah. Their city is tormented by Nabbers, who steal children in the night and have come and kidnapped Selah. Meryn believes that the Nabbers are in league with their monstrous, vampire-like enemy, the Siphons. She decides that her only way to save her sister is to join the army so she can go directly to the front line of the Siphon War.
When Meryn tells Lee that she has enlisted in the army, he has an inside scoop for her since he works as a castle messenger. This enlistment boot camp isn't going to be a normal one. There's going to be bonded trials. The bonded are the king's elite force, a group of soldiers that are bonded to massive, deadly direwolves. And in order to help prepare her for the trials, Lee takes Meryn shopping and spends an insane amount of money on new gear, clothing, boots, weapons, basically everything she's going to need.
Meryn reports the army recruitment base, and they are told that they are to hike up Mount Wolfsbane. They will set up camp there for the night, and the next morning they will begin the ascent. If they can make it to the top of the mountain, they have a chance to bond with a direwolf. She meets other commoners like herself, but also a group of the children of the bonded, who have trained their whole lives for the chance to bond with a direwolf. Meryn also meets Stark Therian, alpha of the Deimos pack, and one scary but beautiful looking bonded.
Meryn begins her hike up the mountain, deciding to take the slower route up the mountain since she absolutely does not want to bond and wants to be shipped off directly to the front lines instead. However, after saving one woman's life from a fierce man from the bonded family, the woman and her twin, Venna and Isabel, take Meryn under their wing and start the trek up the mountain together. The climb is fierce and exhausting, with not only Mount Wolfsbane offering its challenges, but also other people vying to bond with a direwolf.
They finally make it to the top, and Meryn holds back as Venna and Isabel both approach and bond to direwolves. And as they do, a single lock of their hair changes color, signifying what pack they now belong to. One powerful and ancient wolf named Anassa approaches Meryn and bonds with her despite Meryn's plea not to. As soon as the bond snaps into place, all of Meryn's hair has turned into a luminous silver-white color, the same as Anassa's.
But the trial is not over. They must now complete the first step of training to make it back down the mountain and report for military duty. If they do not make it to the castle by nightfall, not only will they not become a Rawbound trainee, but their connection to the wolf will be severed, and they will die. Meryn tries to reach into her mind connection with Anassa, but the wolf blocks her out and takes off down the mountain without her. Meryn knows that this is the only way to move forward to save Selah, so she tosses away her cumbersome pack with all of that stuff that Lee just spent a lot of money on, by the way. and begins the descent on her own. She makes it to the castle right on time, and Anassa emerges from the snow, having followed her the entire time. Meryn is now a Rawbound of the Strategos pack.
Meryn enters the castle and joins the other Rawbounds in the courtyard. They stand divided into 4 packs: Strategos, Kryptos, Deimos, and Phylax. Edith Hartsfield, Beta of Meryn's pack, leads them to their sleeping chambers, and Meryn has never seen opulence like this. She immediately feels uncomfortable, noticing the stark difference between her previous life as a commoner and now one of the bonded. She tries to sleep, but is woken up by a nightmare. Before she can think too much about it, she realizes that the other Rawbounds are already awake and dressed, so she rushes to join them.
They take a tour of the castle and they meet with their instructors, Stark Therian and Aldrich Gnosis. They are told that their Rawbound training will take place for 4 months and be filled with trials along the way in order to cull out any weak members of the packs. Meryn insists to everyone she can that she does not belong here, does not want the bond, and is only there to save her sister, but's unable to get out of training. She even tells Edith, her pack beta, but Edith has no idea about the Nabbers. Meryn tries to escape the castle, but is met with extreme pain, and in that moment learns she's not able to leave Anassa.
Isabel and Venna help Meryn get ready for the presentation that night, which is a ball in which the Rawbounds are presented to the castle's court. They are introduced to King Cyril Valtier, who holds the Diren Blade.
Diren Blade.
Diren Blade.
Iron Blade.
I can't wait for that. Okay.
We're going to send that to Sable Sorensen.
Right.
Diren Blade.
Diren Blade. The fabled weapon that gives him power over the direwolves. Next, Prince Killian Valtier is introduced. Meryn looks up and her eyes lock with the prince. And in complete shock, she recognizes the crown prince. It is her boyfriend, Lee. Can't wait to talk about that.
I know.
What did I text you guys earlier today?
Oh.
Killian is a turd.
Is a turd.
Yes, Katharine literally sent us a group message that said, Killian is a turd. That
We
was
were
it.
like,
No punctuation.
I guess
and
you're
I was
prepping.
Like, yeah, I was like, clearly she's reading the outline right now and being reminded that Killian is a turd.
Ugh.
And I appreciate what you wrote here, Lindsey. I was just as shocked as Meryn in that moment.
Yes.
Nope. We're
You
gonna have a little
weren't?
bit of a Katharine rant.
Let's
here.
go.
I was not shocked because I didn't like him from the beginning and knew he had to be somebody important from the palace because he knew way too much information about the bonding trials and he spent way too much money on her to be a servant, right? So him being the prince, since I had already mistrusted him, wasn't surprising. And it honestly validated every feeling I had for him. And I doubled down in my hatred of him because he lied for an entire year. What an absolute piece of shit. You don't lie for a year in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, rant over, but
No, I loved it. I loved it.
Felt.
I love that you felt that way because I did not. I was shocked.
I was shocked.
I thought that he was someone else, but I did not think he was the crown prince. Like, I thought that he was maybe connected with the Nabbers. I had like a weird feeling at first. I was like, oh, maybe that's him. Or maybe I thought that maybe he was like doing some like backside dealings, like backdoor dealings with like some influential people. And that's how he had money. So I was like, oh, something's going on. But I did not expect him to be the prince. And I think I was hooked from the beginning with this book. It was fun. Like the pacing was immediately you're in, right? Like she's punching someone out and then all of a sudden someone's getting stolen, right? Like so good. But this was the moment, the end of this chapter when I was like, oh my God, guys, I really like this book. Let's do it.
I didn't like him, but I didn't think he was the prince.
Yeah.
I thought he was maybe going to be like part of a resistance. Was my guess.
I know what you mean because I got that vibe at the very beginning thinking he was like a character that we all know from another book we looked at as being kind of like my first boyfriend, part of the resistance.
Totally.
Side
That's why
character.
I didn't hate him. I was like, oh, we're just going to leave him in the dust.
Exactly. But then as it like progressed and I realized he's here.
Ugh.
He's not
Here he
going
is.
anywhere. And then I was like, thank you for validating my hatred of you. Let's continue.
Yeah. And for everyone listening and or watching, in this set of chapters, he is Lee. So we will be referring to him in this episode as Lee. He does not become Killian in my mind until the next stretch. And we'll call out specifically when we switch from calling him from Lee to Killian, but just know in here he is Lee.
Yeah. Because that's what he told Meryn his name is. Because, you know,
and
when he was lying for a year about a lot of
who
things.
He was pretending to be. It goes with that facade. Absolutely.
Yep. Lies.
All right.
Lies. So, shall we continue into our deep dive?
Let's do it. So, my initial thoughts about Meryn were really strong. I felt really strongly about her from the get-go.
100%.
She's a fighter, right? Obviously, she's pretty badass already. I think it made sense that she would jump straight to, oh, my sister was stolen. I'm going to go fight. I'm going to go into the army. She was tough. She was not the kind of character that was like, she's weak and small, and yet she has these powers, right? Like she was like, no, I can beat the crap out of anybody. She talks about her unique height. She beats men double her size. Loved this about her.
She was literally doing that as we were introduced to her.
Yeah. Giant men. And she beat the other guy up who came and was mad at her for winning. And she was like, oh, I just beat this other guy and now I'm going to do the same to you. So good. I was like, I love her. Lee calls her kitten in the first couple chapters for the first time when he goes to her after the fight. Now I hate it. Then I freaking loved it. I literally went to Lindsey's house and I was like, Lindsey, I have a new favorite. I have a new favorite nickname and it's Kitten, because I didn't get negative vibes from him yet. And I saw him as very supportive of her. He was there like cleaning up her cuts and there at the fight, clearly supportive, thinks she's a badass. And so I got cute vibes from Kitten and I was like, oh my God, that's adorable. I love that. Now I hate it, but I was into it. Guys, so authors, if you write an MMC who is amazing, I'm okay with Kitten. If he's going to be actually amazing. Like Slade Ravager calling me Kitten, immediately yes.
Well, I think to you, Kitten was almost like a softening, like feminizing of the badass alley cat. But to Katharine, it was like condescending.
Demeaning. Totally understand
demeaning,
that.
like taking away. And it's so interesting to like look at both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Of like how the same nickname can have so many different meanings in our heads.
Yep.
Which is kind of genius.
It is.
Right?
It is.
I do like that. Yeah. I guess, I mean, to your point, it was kind of like she was introduced so powerfully. So then him calling her Kitten, I was like, she's not a kitten. She's a fucking lioness.
Okay.
Like, she is a badass. Why are you belittling that?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm a cynic for immediately going there, but I don't know. It's so funny that you mentioned him like cleaning up her cuts and saying that is a supportive thing. And for me, I was more like she's fine, chill. You don't need to be calling attention to her wounds. They're not life threatening. She's got it covered. Like,
but
I feel
every
like
boxer after a match gets treated. Like I saw it as like
I totally agree.
Mike Tyson
with you.
gets treated after a match.
Totally agree with you. But because
Mike
I
Tyson.
just like my hackles were already up, I thought he was like calling them out even that much more to show that somehow she's weak and human and everything like that. Rather than if Stark had been there, he would have been like, you're fine.
Right.
Here's the rag.
True. Shake it off.
Clean yourself because you are a capable woman of doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
And so,
well, okay, let's go down that road though, because this is actually the first time that we meet Stark.
It is.
He is executing the man that just tried to mess with her.
Yep.
But we don't. But yes, we know that's the person that tried to mess with her. But in my mind, I actually did not like Stark either. To be fair, in the first introduction to him, I did not like him. But I also feel like we were meant to not like him. So we're just really feeding off of that, really.
This
And we
felt
don't-
like true enemies to lovers to me. Like, I was like,
Yes.
I know that she's gonna. Actually, I don't think that I knew it was Stark from the beginning because I hated him so much. I was like, it can't be him. But it
We
it
weren't
was
meant to know until he admits at
yeah.
the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I feel like in other books, like even though I'm like, oh, I can tell that like this is the
yeah,
enemies to lovers. I feel
It's
like
definitely
this one
not
was
called out.
no. I felt like I wasn't sure if he was going to be the true endgame
Oh, yeah.
as early as
Mhm.
usually
It's so
I feel
funny.
like I do.
For as much as you hated him, I hated Killian. And my
Yeah.
first thought was, no,
Yeah.
Stark is going to be endgame and Killian is a
Yeah.
bad person.
Yeah.
Well, so my question here, though, is did Stark at that point know who Meryn was?
Yes.
Yes, I
actually
think
made
so.
How?
So I made a point of actually looking. That was my biggest question this entire freaking book.
Yeah.
And so when it's
Yep.
called out, and I mean at the very, very end of the book, I made
Yep.
a point to highlight the passage. He actually had been watching her and her whole family.
No, I know that. But how did he know that it was her?
Because his family is charged with protecting the crown.
And
And
because
as
of
we come to realize who the crown truly is.
Yeah.
Oh.
he knows
It
the
is
So
her.
secret.
they've been watching her family for generations and
hundreds
just
of
waiting,
years.
Yes.
just
That's what I
waiting
think.
for one of them to bond.
Because they
Mhm.
can't
And-
say anything about
Yeah.
it. They have
Yeah.
to wait for that to just organically happen.
Yeah.
Almost.
And all of them were under that they were bound to
cursed.
the oath, that
Oh,
curse.
yeah.
And so I think that and he had all the books in his room. I think Stark knew
He,
everything and was kind of waiting in the shadows for this moment to
Yeah.
happen.
he makes a
But-
point of saying he harmed you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's just so crazy to think that they've been watching all of her family for generations, and to think that like the mental illness that her mother went through and the mental illness that
Yeah.
their grandmother went through, that they've been watching that happen and been completely
unable to.
helpless.
Yeah, I know. Could you imagine?
That is kind of devastating.
It is.
I did actually question because I'm like, just knowing the manipulations of people who are oath bound and how
Yeah.
you can tell the truth and stretch how you are telling the truth. The fact that literally 500, and I don't know why I have 500 years in my head, hundreds of years have passed and they haven't made a point of like maybe encouraging a certain family to bond. Just
Yeah.
encouraging them to bond. I'm like, you guys literally just watched on the sidelines. Like, you could have done a little bit.
Maybe they
more.
have.
Yeah, we
Maybe
don't
they
know.
have encouraged it, you know?
Yeah. Because
Yes,
technically they would have to join the army during the bonded trials because it's not like the bonded trials happen all the time.
that's true.
Mm.
And I think we all
good.
said about this book, we want a little bit more history in the upcoming
Yes.
books. We all
Absolutely.
want to feel a little bit more fulfilled when it comes to the wolf history and just
Yes.
magic in general, which we didn't feel was complete in this book. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get it in future ones.
Yeah, I think it's leaving a lot open. Like I looking back now, I feel like it made sense because I think we talked about this off camera that we would have been overwhelmed with so much history. And I think if we got history first and then the story, we would have been like, okay, I liked that it was kind of shocking and then you find out at the end. And now I'm hoping that in the next book we start to get, okay, now that you know these things and now that they can talk about it, they're going to get the data dumps and they're going to get like all that history. I think it's a good potential for it.
Yeah.
And now we care enough about it, right? Like I might not have cared enough before. Now that I know all the things that have happened and who she is and who her family is, now I'm so invested. So let's see.
Agreed. So, speaking of being invested in people's lives, we are
Yeah.
introduced to Igor, who is her neighbor and trainer.
liked
I
him.
think Igor's
too.
character is there to just show how the community is really forced to work together despite their circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
And he's kind of like that father figure because her own father has passed. So she's kind of getting that father / mentor with
Yeah.
him. And I just
Yeah.
liked that.
Yeah. I liked that he was tough with her too. He didn't baby her. He kind of reminded me a little bit of my dad, and my dad's much warmer than Igor is, but like I don't care that you're female. We're going to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, right? And
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, you're
this.
capable. You got this. We're going to work on it together. And I loved that about him. He's a really great character. I was petrified that Igor was going to, something negative was going to come out about him. I would have been devastated.
Or that he was just going to die. I like had this fear the whole book. I'm like, something's going to happen to Igor. Why do I get this vibe?
Because we've read too much.
No.
Speaking of reading too much, though.
Speaking of reading too much, for sure. The second they said the mother was mentally ill, I was like, that ain't right.
No, she ain't.
No, she ain't. There's something else there. Like, I clearly read too much fantasy and read into every possible syllable that these authors put in. But as soon as you mention a mentally ill mother, I was like, no, I don't believe it.
It also didn't help. Did she say like every woman in her like
in their family?
Line?
Yeah. Like, nope, I don't believe it.
Nope.
The funniest thing is that I usually think everything is like this insane theory. I bopped right through that. I was like, oh, yeah, they all have mental illness. Oh, pass. Because in my head, I'm thinking like, this is sad, but like my nonna had dementia. And that's something that can, and her mother before. So I was like, oh, they have like a family illness that's passed down. And so I was like, oh, that's really sad. Didn't even think twice about it. Like, meanwhile, I go down rabbit holes about like you said a thing and you handed me a piece of paper and I'm like, that piece of paper was the same piece of paper. Like, but didn't get this. Didn't get it. Six. God. Stupid.
It actually is really funny to me, Kelly, how, and I mean this not in a critical way at all. It's almost in a beautiful childhood naivety that you read this book. Because you glossed past Killian.
I did.
You glossed past this.
I did.
And I did.
You just needed it in that moment.
Needed it.
Maybe it was the perfect like refresh.
And I almost like your organic reactions to everything. Because I feel like
so
Lindsey
into it.
and I are trying to uncover everything as we read it, and we spoil things for ourselves. And I like that, Kelly, you probably got the most beautiful organic reaction to the whole book. That you probably enjoyed it more because you're just like, let me just read it for pleasure and see how it all comes.
Yeah. Because honestly, I was expecting it to be good. I don't think I was expecting it to be as good. And so for me, I was like, oh, let me read like a fun palate cleanser. Because I don't remember what book I had read right before it, but I definitely read something kind of heavy and like deep in theory. And I was like, oh, like this is fun. Let me try this. And then I got into it and I was like, oh, wait, this is actually more than just a fun, easy read. There's some stuff going on, but I didn't realize it until later, so I wasn't theorizing about everything. I was just enjoying it.
Wish that I could be a vibes reader, and I am solidly not.
Amen.
And I really do. Like sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just enjoy this, but I am the person that is picking and thinking and analyzing everything.
No, it's funny because we both annotate. Like you're annotating with like your actual like stickers and stuff, and I'm like highlighting things in every color that Kindle will allow me to color things in, and writing notes. And I'm like, why can't I just enjoy a book?
I saw a TikTok last week, and it was like my friend and I like reading books together, and she's like, oh, this is 4.7 or like 3.75 stars. The literary analysis is amazing, and the foreshadowing. And she's like, I rated 5 stars. They kissed. And I'm like, sometimes I kind of wish I could be that reader.
Yeah, I know.
I disagree with that.
I know. And now for me, it depends on my mood. So we get a quote from the mother early on. She goes home. She says something about how she can tell that her mom is having one of her episodes. And the mother says, Lumina, mother exclaims, now her voice pained. She races up to me, clutching my arm tightly, almost painfully. Oh, Lumina, they've been terrors today, the twins. They're trying to find you, but they never listen to me. Never, never, never. Mother, hush. I run a hand down her hair, gently calming. Lumina and the twins, whoever they may be, are some of her common delusions. Come to your bed. I'll make the twins go away for you. Gah.
I find this quote really interesting in the very beginning because technically by the end, we don't know who these people are, right? Like if you think about, they live in Nocturna, Astriona, like I kind of was trying to put some sort of emphasis on the fact that there's 2 kingdoms, 2 twins, that sort of connection. But I didn't really make it I didn't make the connection there.
Yeah.
Or there's not really a connection there as far as we know. But there's so much about who Lumina is, who the twins are, that is unanswered, that these are answers that I cannot wait for us to get in book 2, because I'm assuming that it has something to do with the faceless goddess, with her family line, but we don't know. Like, now looking back, we know how important this is, but
we really get no, because I was actually struggling to remember if at the very end when we get this like info dump, Lumina's not brought up at all.
Just under the delusions of her mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we know that it's
I didn't
real.
even realize that.
Like,
I'm so glad you pointed it out.
Right.
Because I had forgotten about this whole conversation about twins. I had totally forgotten about this.
And as soon as we meet Venna and Isabel, my mind went,
twins.
They're a pair of twins. That's interesting. I thought maybe that her mother was like foreshadowing, but I think that is not the case. I think this is about her family's deeper history and the history of the wolves and the history of all of that. But I feel like this is one of those passages that we're going to come back to in book 2 and go, that's
Probably
who these people are.
Do we want to save our discussion on the goddess until we meet her? Like, and by meet her, I mean we see her statue in
city. Definitely a bigger discussion there.
Yeah,
obviously
I have some thoughts.
We mentioned her in our first episode.
World building,
yeah. I kind of wondered if the twins are what Nocturna and Astriona were named after eventually. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that far, so you got farther than I did.
Yeah.
Says the annotator.
And are you alluding to also, Lindsay, that you think that the faceless goddess is related to her family line? Because I think
so.
That's what I think. Yes. That's what I'm alluding to.
I think she is Lumina. And I think that the twins are Nocturna and Astriona, which is what the 2 kingdoms are named. And I think that we will learn eventually that is the importance of this family line, and why, if you think about it, remember the faceless goddess statue is revered in commoner land, but it's not revered to the bonded. Why would that be? Oh, because she is the rightful heir to that family line.
Yeah.
So yes, I do.
I think that also that means that one of the twins is maybe betray, and that's why one of the kingdoms becomes what it is. But I'm going into theories.
No, that was a
You believe
fantastic segue, because I actually wanted to bring up another point.
Yay!
So when we think about the head siphon, and please forgive me, we'll finalize names for it. His name escapes me at this moment. The head siphon that ultimately took down Queen Kiara, the last true of Meryn's family line, queen of a united kingdom, right? And how he obviously comes back to us at the very, very end. I thought there might have been something there with the whole when siphons came about thing.
Okay.
We don't know the origin of the siphons. We honestly don't know the origin of the direwolves. All of this like history, is very much not in this book. And so I thought, to your point, Kelly, it could be something related to the whole, how did siphons come about type of thing, that maybe one of those twins is the twins that it was a female twin, right? That became maybe these monarchs, these female monarchs that rule, and maybe the other twin was the siphon.
Yeah, I like that theory, but I totally think that maybe now I am theorizing. But when I first read it, I was like, dee.
I didn't even think twins, so I was right deeply with you too.
But
Lindsay's the only one that
you were hating Lee so hard that you missed the twins.
Katharine, that would make sense though. That would make sense why, connecting to my theory that the twins are Astriona and Nocturna, because
exactly.
the Astriona would keep that line going, and Nocturna is where the siphons.
In fact, perhaps that's actually their freaking names. Could be.
Oh, that's what I think. Yeah, I totally think it's their names. Totally do.
Oh, and I got that backwards too. They live in Nocturna.
Yes, Astriona is where the siphons are.
That juxtaposition of winter and fall being in Nocturna, where the humans are, versus spring, summer in Astriona being where the siphons are, which is just so
strange,
backwards.
Yep.
Yeah. And we get a quote here about the siphons, a little mini info dump, right? Siphons are ancient, monstrous enemy from the neighboring country of Astriona. They steal our kids out of their beds and take them back across the border, turning them into living blood bags, feeding off of them, sucking out their powerful child life force, and eventually draining and killing them. It makes me sick thinking how those depraved, immortal vampires are going to win this war by slaughtering our innocents.
Yep.
They ain't good.
No,
We
they're
don't
the
like
big
them.
they are the big bad for this
For sure.
book in her head, in her mind. She doesn't even realize all the big bads that exist, but that is what they believe that the big bad is.
Yeah. We see she and Igor discuss how the king doesn't care about the commoners. Meryn tries to teach the kids how to defend themselves, and she's obviously unsuccessful because Selah is taken away. And I really thought that this is the direction that the book was going. I thought we were going to turn into some like kid academy, like somehow I thought that that part was going to play like a much larger portion of the story, and then it was like maybe a half a chapter and then done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
she didn't give herself enough credit for
Meryn didn't?
Yeah. Like, you're trying to train children to just simply fight, not to succeed, but to give themselves a fighting chance. Because at the end of the day, they are siphons and they're extremely powerful. So, I mean, that's all she was trying to do, but she very much feels like this is my fault completely. I didn't do enough. She doesn't give herself enough credit. She doesn't do that for a lot of this book, I would say.
Yeah. To me, that half a chapter was put in there for two reasons. The first is to show you that the kids have a little bit of skill and have been taught a little bit of basics. And then the other part is like just to show you how much she cares about other people and is willing to like make sacrifices and do those things to make like how much she hates the royals and the siphons, and kind of just builds up her character to me. But yeah, I also thought that we were going to get like training montage scenes and all this stuff, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was like, whoop, nope, done. Moving on. Moving on.
But it gives us a good baseline of what is important to her, because it's also the introduction to the Nabbers, where she's like, kids have been kidnapped for as long as I've been alive, maybe this entire war that's been going on. Yep. And we get the introduction to what she calls the Nabbers. These, and we don't even know if they are siphons or humans working for siphons at this point. We just know that they steal children in the night.
Yep. And Katharine, you were right. We have a quote here, and it says, the war has been going on for 500 years. So your 500 was coming from there. But between our countries bonded and their direwolves and Astriona's siphon strength, it's rare for either side to take much ground. And we all know what would happen if Astriona won. The siphons would hunt down every last human and drain us. But here in Sturmfrost, we're as far away from the front as you can get in the entire kingdom of Nocturna. If you're safe anywhere, it's here. Foreshadowing.
Wah, wah.
Ominous foreshadowing.
Is it safe?
I don't know. What do you think? So they see a bonded riding his wolf through town, and they go to watch.
So we got a quote here about the bonded. The bonded are the king's most elite forces, soldiers who have mental bonds with massive, fearsome direwolves. They ride the wolves into battle, and rumor has it the rider can even tap into the magic that the direwolves wield.
Again. Why?
I blame Lindsey. Lindsey did this to us. Lindsey is
absolutely
Quicksilver
my fault.
yielding, wielding.
Oh my
against this
God.
word. But you know what?
I know
Wield
how to
and
read, I
yield.
promise.
It can work. It can work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
but this quote kind of shows how clueless Meryn truly is about
anything,
the
does she?
direwolves and about the bonded. Like, oh, rumor has it they can tap into the magic. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, bitch, you about to find out.
you really about to find out.
Yeah.
Because the bonded that they see is none other than Stark himself. And he's covered in tattoos, which y'all know I love a tattoo. I was very...
tattoos.
I was like, whoa, okay. But immediately intrigued. I was like, what are these tattoos? And to be fair, I think I had seen some spoilers online not knowing what the tattoos were, but just knowing, I think someone said, oh, I can't see like anyone out in public with a tattoo without, like, if you know, if you've read Direbound. And so I was like, ooh, the tattoo. Okay. So the tattoos have a special meaning. So I knew that going into it, it wasn't just like, oh, he's attractive and he has really cool tattoos.
But
so
she
I
likes
loved
to
it.
belittle those tattoos. Like, she had a perception in her head, and she's a very bullheaded character.
Yes.
Like, when she makes a decision about you, it is very hard to change her mind about that. And she had it in her head. He is flaunting these tattoos. These are kill tattoos. All he cares about is killing and murdering people, and he doesn't value human life, which is totally fucking wrong.
It is so wrong.
So wrong. Yep. And
But we
then,
like
so
Lee. Sorry. I'm sorry. I need to stop.
let it go. He's bad guy.
I wasn't turned yet, which I'm happy because I feel like you weren't supposed to not like him yet.
Honestly, I mean, like I said, it was not a criticizing comment. You probably read this with more joy because you didn't think all of the evil,
No, I didn't.
horrible,
I didn't.
like, he's going to stab you in your back, woman. You got to watch out thoughts that I did.
I know. I
I
do
was
believe in a
anxious.
happily ever after. So, but I didn't think it was him. I thought he was just like, oh, the sweet boy that you're going to just like leave behind because you're going to turn into something great. Sweet my ass.
Well, here was a moment for me that I was like, nope, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Quote, Lee comes over for dinner and he sees the mother's episode kind of turn violent, and she talks directly to him. Quote, Nocturne curses you, traitor, she hisses, and the venom in her voice makes my skin prickle. He curses you. Mom has raised a hand to point straight at Lee. He's seen her delusional before, but never aimed at him. Mother, I say, trying to draw her attention back to me to calm her down. It only sets her off more. And you, she says, turning on me wild-eyed. You are not where you are meant to be. Okay, so we talked a little bit earlier about how immediately I was like, nope, she's not mentally ill. There's more to it. So this really set me off to think that I should not trust Lee. She literally looks at him and says, Nocturne curses you, traitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I feel so dumb. No, because you know what I thought here? I thought that she was referring to like, oh, he works at the castle. And so because he's a messenger, because he works for them and they're up in their castle and with their wealth and we're all poor, that she was saying that he's a traitor because he works for that. And like that says, I was like, that's all. Oh yeah, that's what it is.
So sweet and innocent.
So innocent. Like,
So
what's
innocent.
wrong with me? Guys, watch our Quicksilver deep dive. I swear I'm not this innocent all the time. I have theories sometimes.
I would say probably.
That was like the most pleading. I have theories sometimes.
Please, I swear I have thoughts.
I think Lindsay and I are honestly jealous of that because we probably would have been way less anxious this entire book if we could have just been like,
yeah.
oh,
No,
Lee.
I was diddly doodling until
Please don't say
until
that.
the diddly doodling until the dress showed up in her room. I immediately knew it wasn't from her. Yeah, I knew it wasn't from him, and I was like, nope, something's up.
I just wonder when your spidey senses started tingling.
That
so that
and
was
then
it.
That was the dress.
The dress and the sex scenes, because they were
the sex scenes.
they
We're gonna have a
were
lot to
way
talk
too
about with
aggressive.
those.
I have a
for
lot to
me.
talk about.
I was like, nope.
Everyone, every time. Yeah,
Yep.
let's
Yeah, we'll
We'll-
save that, but
we'll
that
save it
is
for the
when
first
my
one.
spidey senses. Yep.
So
Anyway, so keep going, because I feel like Lindsay, Lindsay, this is where you really started to be like, no, this is not.
Yeah.
Good.
My other thought here is I find it really odd, and I would love for Sable to tell me the truth behind this one, why we don't learn the mother's real name. I would really love to know if that is purposeful or just because she's supposed to be mom and that's all she is, right? Like maybe it is just we don't learn dad's name either. Maybe it's just because they're parents,
mom and dad.
whatever.
Yeah.
But even as we get into later chapters and she's interacting with other people, Igor, all of these people, we never learn her name. And I find that choice,
you know what? That's a good point.
really odd one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get first and last names for a lot of inconsequential characters.
Titles.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Not the mom. Why? I would love to know the reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
choice. Like, is her name something? And I don't think that we know enough about the history of the world for us to learn a name and go, light bulb. I know why she's named that, and like make a connection. So I really, if I could ask Sable Sorensen one question, I feel like that would be it.
It's a great question. And the only reason I could think in my own head right now would be that for some reason, anyone knowing her name would, like you said, be a light bulb, not just by what the word or name means, but because they would recognize it as the royal line in some way. And so it would, like, people would know, like, oh, she's the true queen, or something to that effect.
Like, her neighbors have to know it. Why don't we as leaders know it?
I don't know.
Yeah, because what's more interesting
also,
about
I didn't
her
say
mother,
light bulb. I said light bulb.
No, don't worry. Despicable Me quote.
Thank you.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, got
was
it.
very happy of that one. That one's a
light bulb.
Solid quote in our house.
Appreciate it.
But I mean, the more interesting background about her is the fact that she is part of the royal line. So to your point, it's like, well, we found that out. Why can't we find out her name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a great question. We'll have to ask Sable.
I like that
Dear
that
Sable.
is where you started distrusting Lee, because I didn't like him, but until this point, I just thought he was like a boyfriend, not the forever boyfriend. I didn't necessarily completely hate him at this point. But then Sayla gets kidnapped, and it's literally right after she has left Lee.
Yes.
And I was, at that point, I was like, Lee is involved. That was too much of a coincidence, his presence being right, like, near her, near their home, right before the kidnapping happened. I was like, no, Lee is bad news. And I signed off to him from then on out.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I, in my head, worried. I was like, oh my God, what if Lee is connected? And then I was like, stop, you're reading too far into this. And I kept moving. I talked myself out. Like, I remember a moment of like talking myself out of it. And then at the end of the book, I was like, you're so stupid.
Trust your gut, Kelly.
Such an interesting take. Like, it is one of my very favorite memes in the entire world is one that my husband and I quote all the time, which is, once you hate somebody, everything they do bothers you. Like, look at that bitch eating crackers like she owns the place. Which my husband and I quote the bitch eating crackers all the time, and we automatically know what the other one is talking about. And I feel like for Katharine, Lee is the bitch eating crackers. Like, no matter what he would have done in this moment.
So damn loudly.
He's crinkling that wrapper. He's eating crumbs all
Meanwhile,
over.
I'm like, oh, those look like
Shut.
some nice crackers. You must be hungry. Good for you.
Sesame.
Yeah, I'll have a snack. Like,
Oh, you can't stand flaming hot Cheetos? Is it just too spicy for you?
But it's true, like, everything Lee did, because Katharine already had a perception of him, bugged the shit out of her.
it's so true. It's so true.
But she's also not completely wrong.
No, she's
that
not.
Lee
She's
had
right.
something to do with Sayla's
No,
disappearance.
she's right. I would have been the dumb idiot in this movie that like went into the basement when everyone's like, don't go in the basement. The power is off and there's like flooding and we think there's a murder. And I'd be like, like, I didn't get any of the warning signs in this book.
So, and speaking of all of that, I did kind of have that thought. Okay, we know that later on in the end, Killian/Lee tells Meryn that he knew who she was the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? Why did he help her? Like,
Why did he help
I have
Meryn?
I have a lot of thoughts about
His
why
purpose.
what was his purpose? What was his intention? If he wanted to keep her away from the crown and from her lineage, why did he buy her all this stuff? Like, I feel like his intention, I just have a lot of questions around that. Why date her for a year?
Yeah.
Is it to get her to, I would see, like, I almost wish we had a scene of him being like, no, don't go. Don't join the direwolves. Like, don't try to become a bonded. Don't join the army. But he pushes her into it, and I find that really odd.
Yeah, and he talks about it later. So he talks about it later in the book too, that he like wanted her to go, like he pushed her into the army. He like made sure that it was going to be around the bonding trials. And I feel like, and I'm gonna have to look at it, but I feel like he rationalizes it with, I think he has this sick thought in his head that he does love her in his own sick, twisted way. And I think he believes that him and his power, and through the way that he was kind of controlled, and her and who she is together could be this like great thing if she just like submits to him. And so I feel like he's almost like this, he's manipulative. Like, don't get me wrong, he's manipulative and he does a lot of bad stuff. But I also kind of get the sense that he's not right in the head. Yeah, like
narcissistic. Hubris?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And he's just like he's a sick, like he reminds me of like the villains in like a Batman movie who are just kind of like sick in the head and they believe they're doing good, but they have like a warped sense of reality. And like, oh, but I love you, even though I torture you.
Hey.
That's what I get from him. Hey, Rock. That's okay.
Hey, Rock. What's up, Rock?
Hey, Rock. What's up? Show
up,
love.
Rock?
We gonna get on tonight.
I love you, baby.
I drink.
I smoke.
Hey,
Me
You too. Oh, yeah.
We gonna get on tonight.
thank you for talking in my head while I'm trying to kiss him.
We're actually singing
I'm
some.
like, he's like, why are you
We
making
gonna
that
get
face?
on
And I'm like,
tonight.
they're saying weird stuff in my head right now.
Yeah, well, that's pretty normal for Lindsey and Kelly
Yup,
to be
they're just
singing
singing.
weird stuff in your head.
So funny. Okay.
No,
So anyway,
but-
so that's the vibes I got. Like he's
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
his mind in a sick and twisted way. He believes that they could be together and that he believes that he loves her and that like, wow, we could be this great thing together if you would just see the way that I see. That's what I got from him.
I don't disagree with actually that. Like, I fully think I don't know how he discovered who her family lineage is, but I do think he knew who she was, knew what her family was. He made a point of saying why the mother had to be taken care of, why Selah had to be taken care of. He zeroed in on her specifically as that is a situation I can manipulate for my own gain. I do agree, Kelly, that it's almost like this narcissistic belief that he could control her and together do it, but only because he could then siphon whatever magic she has into him and her just completely capitulating to that because why wouldn't you want to do
why wouldn't you believe in this cause?
Yes, I have amazing thoughts for the future. You will be totally on board for it. So I don't think I think you hit it on the head. He is delusional enough to think that he's doing something for the greater good, and siphoning magic out of her is a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
So you feel like he helped her get there, knowing that even though she'd be technically closer to the answers, that he would be able to shield her from finding out. Like, in his mind, he has the hubris of everyone's cursed, so they can't talk about it, so you're never going to find out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get her close to me so that I can eventually siphon off her magic.
I also think it's a little bit of the fact that the siphon that ultimately possesses him, right? It is also a little bit of, I don't think all of these master plans were 100% Killian organic.
That's a good point.
I think the we will have a great world together is his own naivety and narcissism. I think the ultimate plan to allow her to understand her own power, but then to bind it in such a way that he can siphon the power, that I think was the plan of the siphon that ultimately possesses him in the end. So I think it's a bit of Killian, but I also think it's a bit of that siphon at the same time.
I do like that.
Which, actually, I don't have a pen on me, but I really want to make a note.
You want this one?
Because, oh yeah, thanks. Because
Okay,
I'll throw it really quick.
Just chugging on
I
out
know
there.
Killian tells her when he was possessed, and I'm pretty sure it happens after the ball, right?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure in that episode that we point out, hey, from here on out, Killian is possessed.
Can you actually make a point?
Oh, that's
because
a
I
great
don't actually
note.
remember if it's actually
Yeah.
at the ball. I know
I'll
it's
write it
right
down.
before he has her kill the king. I know that the king has already been depossessed and that siphon is now in Killian.
Yeah, I think it happens pretty
yes.
quickly. Kelly, write it down and then just text me tomorrow and be like, hey, Lindsey, look this up, because I remember him saying it and I want to add it to that outline, because I feel like if we say it, all of his actions will be very
in a different light,
have a different justification after
and
that.
I think it's
I
interesting you point that out, because even reading it towards the end, the actual timeline of when he became possessed to not, I don't actually think I even thought about how his actions and interactions would have been different before and after. So now I really want to go back
tomorrow.
Will you text us also where you find it? Because then I want to actually be looking at my own notes differently since then, because I don't even, until you literally just pointed it out, I didn't even think, oh, he probably acted a lot different afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that tomorrow.
Cool.
But
all right,
one thing I do think is interesting to note or question is how much the king knew about Meryn and her history, because 1000% Killian knew. The siphon that ultimately possesses him, which was being possessed by his own father, clearly knew. But I don't necessarily think the possession is like a one for one, you know my thoughts, I know your thoughts. So I wonder how much the actual king knew about Meryn.
Oh, the king absolutely knew.
You think he did? Because he's literally just signing on to his own destruction.
No, he absolutely knew who Meryn was, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no doubt in my mind, because Killian, at the end when Killian makes that comment of my father gave me the whatever person possessed me, how else would Killian know who Meryn's family line was? If the bonded, if Stark's family knows and they've been watching her, then there's no doubt that the king's family also knows and has been watching her line.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense. It would be unreasonable to assume that they wouldn't have kept tabs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I wrote that one off as Killian did his own research, but now that you're saying that, I'm no, why would they not know and keep tabs? But then also, why would they just not, maybe a little bit heartless, why not just kill him?
I mean, we're in a
because
fantasy
wasn't
book.
it supposed
Everyone's
to be a
dying.
secret? No, I'm sorry, I just want to noodle this. Wasn't it supposed to be a secret? Because the queen had multiple children, right? And it was the youngest child who was able to escape during the siphon attack before her entire family was slaughtered, right? Before the original queens of the United Kingdom, not the United Kingdom, the United Kingdom.
The land,
was killed. Her entire family was killed as well, except for the youngest child. And that was a secret, Stark's family being charged with keeping that secret. So it would have, if the siphon knew who the family was, the siphon would have killed the family. I wonder if it maybe wasn't necessarily known to the siphon or the royals.
And that something tipped them off.
Or something
eventually.
Killian discovered, because otherwise, why not they would just kill them. There's no competition. Just kill them. If you know who they are, kill the entire family.
But if we go back to the fact that we think that Killian thought that he could use the power, then maybe that's why they didn't kill him. Maybe they thought that they could use
I guess
their power.
I guess I'm not 100% sold on how much is Killian's intentions versus the siphon that ultimately possesses him, because I'm very much on the fence that his intentions was we can rule this land together, like Kelly said.
Right. Could it have just been the siphon the whole time, passing from king to king? And that's why the king knew who it was, because the siphon was in him, so and then, you know what I mean?
But either way, why would Killian?
And
why would Lee be dating her for a year? Because at this point, he doesn't have
the
That's still my question. I know Killian knew. I'm still questioning if the king knew. I wonder if the siphon somehow found out, and that's why he wanted to jump from king to Killian for his own master plan.
Why did it take them so long to come get Sayla? Because Sayla was obviously a targeted attack, right?
That one I thought.
So
was
why did
Killian
it take so long?
Influencing to do.
Yeah, I think that he timed it because Lee knew that she would do something wild, like enlist in the army to go get her, and so I think he was timing it so that it would work out that she would have to go through the bonded trials. That's what I think.
Yeah. Like he knows,
because they only happen every I don't
4
know
years?
how.
Did
something
he think
like
that she wouldn't survive the bonded trials?
No, I think he wanted her.
I think he wanted her to bond. No, I think he thought she would bond. I think he wanted to get rid of Selah because technically Selah, if Selah bonded, would be a queen as well, right? There's no like hierarchy in these things. I think Killian had a master plan of, I need to get rid of Selah. I'll have her picked up by a Nabber. Whether or not his father knew about this or not, I still question.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I need her to bond to steal her own power.
It's kind of stupid of him. Like you said,
Definitely.
it is
100%.
hubris because it's like, why do you think that? Yeah. But
we have
it's like I said, delusional.
About
I think he's delusional. I think he's, lots of questions. All right. Well, I feel like now as we do our rereads of the chapters before we come together and talk about it and say it for the podcast, I'll be paying attention to a lot more than I paid attention to in my first read. Well, to be fair, there were a lot of things that I did see coming and I was like, oh, yep, I knew that was going to happen. But then there were a good amount of things that I was also shocked about. So I wasn't completely doing the whole book, but
I mean, to be
In
fair,
your
it's
daisy
hard
field?
to pick
in my
up.
daisy field, I was in a daisy field and then I was stuck in traffic and then I was back in a daisy field.
Yeah. Hey,
it's
Kelly, can
hard
you
to
move
pick up
your microphone
intent.
down a tiny bit?
Yeah. Is it on my face?
Yeah.
I
Just
keep
so if
moving.
That's
'Cause I'm uncomfortable.
just that way I can pull.
Screenshot pictures of us
Yeah.
going like this. But I mean, Kelly, to your point, it's really hard on a first read to pick up intent of people.
Yeah.
Like you get that at
Yeah.
the very, very end. Because like I could not pick up what was the king's intent, what was Killian's, what was the siphon's
Right.
intent. So now going back on it, I'll be paying attention to that. But I mean,
sure.
even sitting here right now, I can't tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And again, intention. Why did, so Meryn says that she's going to the Army Recruitment Center. She enlists. She feels like it's the only way to save Selah. And then she goes to Lee and he spends an exorbitant amount of money on her to help her. Why? I will say this I did not read more into. In my mind, I'm like, he's a single guy. He saved his money. He doesn't have a family to support. Catherine's shaken like, nope.
No, I was like, he knows.
Did not read into this at all.
He knows
me either.
every detail of the bonded trial. He knows every single piece of equipment you have to buy. He is a courier for the palace, but he has all this money to waste on you to buy all of this very expensive equipment. I was like, lady, would you start questioning things? They are not adding up.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
You know what I did read into was their first sex scene.
Yes.
Because I thought it was so weirdly possessive and aggressive.
Yep.
But in my mind, and I said this every single scene, I'm like, but she seems to like it. It wasn't until later, I think about 3/4 of the way through the book, that there is one specific sex scene that I'll call out when we get there, that she tries to take control and he's like, no. So up until then, she kind of lets him take control and is possessive and aggressive. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's just what she's into.
Yeah,
But
I
it
know.
always felt really, really off to me. And I know Katharine felt this way too.
Yeah, when I can read scenes like this and I get the female's perspective of this is what I want. I need to hear that in their own thoughts to say, I like this. He's doing this. This is what I want. I'm totally on board. As it is happening, I can get comfortable because I'm like, you know what? If that is you, if that is what you want and you're comfortable with it, I'm not going to judge you on that. But to your point, I didn't necessarily get that. So then I read every scene as a manipulation and a control of him over her, and her not realizing that. And so I honestly I skimmed every single one. I couldn't read them because they were so manipulative and cringeworthy to me, just because I got that ick factor and that this guy is bad news factor.
Yeah.
I could not, there was no enjoyment with them. They rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And Kelly,
100% agree.
I think you read it, and I think you're on point. Your interpretation, Kelly, of this, I think is an important one to bring up to readers, like how you viewed that scene.
Yes. When I read these scenes, we read a lot of books with spice in them, and we like the scenes because they feel powerful for the female. They feel like they come from a place of mutual consent and like you said, like mutual enjoyment, whatever it is, however crazy on the scale that it might be, it always seems to be like they are both into this is consensual, etc. These scenes read as abusive. They read as controlling. It read as very focused on him. And the way that they talk about control and pain I think the authors did a great job, because there are books where that's what the FMC is into. And you can tell that, nope, she's all about this. And I got the weird I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I've read scenes like that in other books and it was fine. And so I think that you're supposed to feel like there's questions of abuse. You're supposed to feel like she's just writing it off as like, oh no, well, this is just how we are together. Or, oh, he loves me. This is fine. Because I think you're supposed to start to question their relationship and also what she is willing to put up with him. And might help you understand maybe why she doesn't see through him earlier than she does. So the abuse repeats for me and it just gets worse and worse. And I agree. Like there were scenes when I was reading them and I was like, none of this is attractive.
Yeah.
None
100%.
of it's attractive. And I
And
was
is
like,
it
no.
Is it intentional on the author's part we are supposed to not trust him? Right? Like is this where, and is sex an odd place to put that as an author?
That's a fair question.
Or is it more subliminal of, hey, we know that the FMC is blinded by him, but you shouldn't be.
Right.
You know, like how intentional was that?
I kind of feel like it is the latter of what you just said of like, I think it's intentional. I think we're supposed to see it. I do think it's one of those things, and I don't remember if there was a trigger warning for this, but I think this is one of those situations where like it could be really difficult for a reader who has gone through this type of abusive relationship in the past to read these things and not read into it that way. And so I feel like it was intentional. And even though it is a difficult thing to read, I think it was done well because clearly we felt that way. You know what I mean? And so it was like, why does this, and I was even like, why does this feel weird to me? Like, am I like
weird?
Jaded now? Like, cause but no, it didn't, in my gut, I was like, something's wrong, you know? And maybe as women, we got to trust our guts.
Your gut. Yeah.
This is what it's telling you, you know?
And maybe it was also, I don't know, a little bit of the fact that it shows you how far gone she is, that she will rationalize it being okay in all aspects of her relationship. So then when she doesn't question things later on, you can really see why she's not questioning it, because she's like, no, he is mine in all ways. I am his in all ways. And this is our norm. This is fine. And so he's always the person I can trust, not realizing the behind the scenes manipulation that is really like fueling those kind of encounters.
Yep. 100% agree. But this is this is also the first book that I think I've read, I think ever. Well, not ever. That's a lie. My first romance fantasy book that I've read where the intimate scenes have been, whoa, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right.
That's not true.
Which one?
Plated Prisoner.
Oh, yeah.
But those were glaring.
Very much.
You're right.
This very much gave me Plated Prisoner vibes.
Yeah,
like
you're
we
right.
are supposed to be uncomfortable because she is uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
But
you're right.
Because
You're
there's
right.
something more here.
But that was, but I feel like Plated Prisoner was more obvious that you were supposed to feel that way because it was like an obvious abuse situation. Whereas this, I don't know, in the first couple of scenes, I was like, is this? Like they're supposed to be together and like they're in a consensual relationship, whereas in Plated Prisoner,
it's obvious.
You can fight the fact that they're consensual, but they're not, you know? You're right.
I read reviews after I read this book because I was like, oh, there's a love triangle. And certain reviews are like, there's no love triangle. And certain reviews that also were like, the spicy scenes are fantastic. And I'm like, I don't think we read the same book.
The same book.
If those are your interpretations of those scenes. Because like, I think we've all read books where it's like, okay, that's not my taste, but they're into it. Fine.
They're into it.
No judgment because everybody is a consenting adult to what they want. And it just, you can read something and be okay with it with that context versus this is probably not even the most spicy scene any of us have ever read, but because the context behind it was not there, it wasn't consensual, and it felt
icky,
manipulative, that it read as a bad scene and a scene that we could just couldn't read. Like I said, I glossed through them
this isn't
because
great,
of that.
but whatever. But it definitely got worse as it went on. The first one, I got the ick, but I kind of like didn't think into the ick as much. And then after it was that way every single time, I was like, oh no, this is weird. I don't like this. This isn't for me.
Something's wrong. Yep.
All right. Well, off that terrible, awful topic. Mother, unnamed mother, tries to give Meryn the opal necklace, and she does not accept it yet. So I kind of love that the mother is at least there lucid enough to try to give her the necklace in this moment. Yeah,
she knows what's up.
But
not enough to tell her, yo, bitch, you're part of a royal line. You should probably look into that.
Was she cursed realize too that she couldn't?
No, I think she's just lost it. I think
she's just kind of nutty.
She's nutty and she doesn't know reality anymore. I mean, either way, if she had looked at Meryn and been like, hey, you're part of a royal line, you should probably go take your crown. Meryn be like, shut the fuck up. Crazy.
Go take your meds, Ma. Yeah.
But I also don't think Ma realized any of that in its entirety either. Because, and it's kind of weird that their magic is like, let me just have voices in your head rather than being very direct and to the point.
Yep. Well, now she
has
to get ready. She has to get ready for the ascent.
Time to go up Mount Wolfsbane, everybody.
Here we go.
By the way, Wolfsbane?
It's a plant, right?
I thought so.
What does it do? Because, I mean, I see it in all these fantasy books. You see Wolfsbane constantly, and I was just thinking, what is actually Wolfsbane?
It's toxic.
I was going to say, it sounds like it's a toxic plant.
Neurotoxic, severe respiratory and cardiac problems.
Very pretty.
Can
conjure images of an enchanted forest, a potion, and a mystery novel when you think of Wolfsbane. Common name for a poisonous plant. Yep.
Is it anything within a fantasy world? Like, does Wolfsbane hold any kind of like, not ignoring the poison side of things, does it hold any importance in a fantasy world?
It's just commonly used, I think, in making potions. So I think people associate it.
It's also called Wolfsbane.
As opposed to?
Like it's wolf.
Wolves, like the
Wait, what? I didn't know.
Wolf, like wolves.
It sounds like a wolf. It's a wolf.
No,
it's Wolfsbane.
But it's spelt that way.
I know.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I think people use it in fantasy because
it's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
Oh,
it's like,
can you just say wolf
a few more times? Like, it's a
wolf. Like you're like, oh, it's a wolf. A wolf. A wolf.
A wolf. The wolf is on fire.
We don't need no water. Let the burn.
Like that you bleeped out motherfucker. Like you haven't said motherfucker 8 times on just tonight's episode.
So we get a quote. Tomorrow morning at dawn, the ascent begins, the first of the trials. You will each be given the greatest privilege our country can give you, the chance to bond with a direwolf. If you do not succeed in bonding, he pauses, and I hear the words he doesn't say. If you do not succeed in bonding and also manage not to die, the rest of you will be brought back here after the ascent to board transport to the front lines where your training will be conducted.
Mm-hmm. Which is what Meryn wants.
Right, that's exactly what she's looking for.
She's like, great, sounds good.
I'll do that one. She meets her first friend, Alessandra. But as soon as the action starts, this bitch says, I don't want to be an ally. You're an idiot.
So dumb.
Off the side of the mountain you go.
But then Meryn sees a group of recruits, and we have a quote here. A group of recruits is already here, tents built. They all seem to know each other, and many are wearing furs like the ones I saw in the families hours ago back in the bonded city, when they all came through and saw the actual bonded city. They're children of the bonded, I realize, the ones who want a bonding trial to come so that they can try for their so-called birthright, test their luck against the mountain and the dire wolves atop it. So she's seeing that I guess this is her first one-on-one interactions with those actual bonded children. The ones that actually want to go up the mountain and find a direwolf and bond to it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And shows like a definite bias against the bonded for sure. Like she sees them as these people that, you know, they have furs. She's never owned furs before. They're these bloodthirsty animals basically.
Yeah.
But she definitely, like, I feel like this is the very beginning where we start to see her thoughts about how biased she truly is against them, for sure.
100%.
Another example of how bullheaded she is. Once she forms
Yes.
an opinion of you, it's very hard
yeah.
to change that opinion for her.
I was shocked at how long it took her to kind of come off of it, you know? Yeah.
But Isabella and Venna are introduced to her, or we see them here for the first time. They're not quite introduced yet. We're introduced to Henry, who is another commoner.
Yep.
And he's the one that says, well, there's a longer, safer path up the mountain, so you won't die, but we take this longer, safer path so that way by the time we get up there, there's no wolves left to bond. You can take this. But he's not going to take it.
Nope.
He's like, I know that it exists, but I'm not taking it. I want a damn wolf. And he gets one. Good for him.
Sure does. Go, Henry.
Yeah.
So we also meet Stark again here, and he says, quote, being bonded requires great sacrifice. The dire wolves have lived in this range since before our history started. They've always been our allies, but before they choose to bond, they need proof that the human they've chosen is worthy. So think about the wording here. Since before our history started. Do we think this is a hint to Meryn?
Yes, yes, yes,
Tell me more.
yes. I think that this was the first instance of him not being able to say it outright, but he's cursed. But if you look at the wording, since before our history started, it's meant to infer before humans.
Yeah.
But what he's really saying is the history that we know.
Right, that you've been
Because
taught.
You've been taught a different history. So absolutely, I think from second one,
Yep.
this is him dropping hints to her.
Yep. And I like that he says the human they've chosen is worthy. And then like the fact that worthy is like ... worthy. Because to me, it's a reminder that when she does bond, it's like, you need to accept this because something about you is worthy of what we don't know yet, but like, you need to trust this. There's something else deeper here. And that's why I was not mad. I saw some people online who were like, but she didn't want to bond. Why would she? I don't get why she would bond. And why did they force that? That was weird. I wasn't expecting that to be the way that it happened. And I was like, she's worthy. She needs to accept it.
There's a bigger picture.
Yes, there's a bigger,
going
and I
on
get
here.
that like
Yeah.
they would have, people are like, oh, I just want her to be able to choose that. Like, and I get that, but like, you can't choose something if you don't know all your options.
Yeah. You can't choose
Amen,
the fact
sister.
that you are the crown heir.
Right.
Doesn't change
Yep.
the fact that sometimes in life we don't choose things. That doesn't mean we don't have to deal with them. And she has to deal with the fact that she was chosen. She was bonded.
Yep.
Let's move
Yep.
on. Get on board. Move on with
Get
it.
on
But
board.
I like in our world building episode where I complained how our introductions to Stark, when he's not saying these very few specific quotes, is him basically grunting for like 300 pages. And you're like, no, Katharine, read it in the light of he's trying to say something and the oath doesn't let him, and him basically just wanting to grunt out the answers to her, but he can't. And I was like, you know what? Was actually very helpful.
Touche.
Because I view all of his grunts now completely different, and they're less annoying, I will say, now that I think about that. I'm like, oh, he wanted to say more.
Yeah.
He couldn't speak.
But this is a moment where he did, right?
He sure
In
did.
so many words, he kind of was honest and truthful.
Yep.
And it makes you want to read other things and go, oh, did he have more intent behind that?
It makes me really want them to have a heart-to-heart conversation where they go over literally every single one of their one-on-one interactions.
We better get that.
so
in
that we
book
can
I want
have
the
his
POV
other
chapters.
side.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm not going to get his point of view, I'm like, no, we can waste like 4 chapters. Let's go point by point, line by line, every single interaction. Let's talk this through like adults.
All right. So after we get that interesting quote from Stark, Meryn saves Isabel from Jonah, who we hate for you,
Automatically.
Jonah. Automatic hatred. Okay, Jonah. Okay, Larry. Lawrence.
That was beautiful.
We can't even say what that reference is to.
Nope.
No, that is not a book reference,
That's
everyone.
not a book reference.
That
Okay,
is a
Larry.
real life. That is a real life reference right
Okay,
there.
Jonah.
That one will stay a mystery for all time.
And Meryn Isabel and her sister Venna become fast friends.
Yeah. I felt kind of bad for Meryn in this moment because she kind of has to become friends with him because she doesn't have anybody else. But obviously, like, it works in her favor. But when it first started, I was like, all right, well, this is her only option. She's going to run with it. Is going to bite her in the ass. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it ends up working out.
They live up to our hopeful expectations.
They do. They exceeded my expectations. I was like, okay, Isabel and Venna.
Yeah. I mean, they're very obviously placed there for us to start to like members of the bonded.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. They're a product of their environment. They're good people.
They're to give her the humanizing of the bonded, which her perceptions are not giving her. I also liked the call out to the fact that they're doing sign language, whatever sign language is for their world, and how Meryn makes a point of trying to learn different signs from this point on in the book. And I liked that they gave that character that, but it didn't like define her or limit her or anything. It was just a part of her.
Yep. Yeah. And they make it up the mountain together. And we did talk earlier about how people's hair kind of changes, a small sliver of their hair changes to a different color based on whatever pack their
what if
wolf
you have a buzz
is.
cut?
Right? Is it like a strip?
What if
That's a
you're
good question.
What if you're a guy that has a buzz cut or a baldy?
You can't put this in there.
Tat?
You couldn't. No, you can't put this.
What if I put that in there?
Don't you dare.
I've got the power. All right. Anyway, they make it up the mountain together. And we see that people's hair changes a sliver of color when they bond to their wolves based on the pack that their wolf is in. Except Meryn, our girl Meryn, her whole freaking head changes. Is this because of who she is or because who Anassa is? The answer, we find out at the very end of the book that it is actually because of who Meryn is.
I hope silver matches her undertone because as a gold girly, I would be really upset if I had silver hair all of a sudden.
But she's brown haired, isn't she? At the beginning, she's probably got my tone. I look good silver.
Yeah. You'd look good silver.
I'm just saying, I hope that is in her color.
I hope it's on her. I hope it's on your color wheel.
Yeah,
that is a big change.
Well, based on the incredible character art that Sable Sorensen posted and that we posted a reaction video to on our Instagram, she looks good.
She can pull
She
it
has
off.
like a beautiful olive tone skin, and then it's like this gorgeous silver. If you haven't seen that artwork, go to Sable Sorensen's Instagram account or ours, and we talk about it there. But oh my god, it works. It's good. It works for her. She pulls it off.
I honestly, at this point, thought his name, Stark, was a play on her getting like Stark white hair.
Oh, I like that. I didn't think about that. That's
I was
cute.
just like, oh, is that like an homage?
Stark.
Right?
Yeah.
Call out.
There we go. And we actually get a quote from Meryn when she comes face to face with Anassa. She says, quote, "That's when I see her for the first time. A direwolf who stands apart, her silver fur gleaming in the dim light. Something about the set of her stance, the slant of her golden yellow eyes communicates her disinterest and her authority. She looks simultaneously older and more powerful than any of the others. I take a step toward her before I realize what I'm doing, then stand stock still as she turns her head toward me, studying me with ancient eyes." Someone else says, "Oh, that's Anassa. She never bonds. They say she's been here for hundreds of years." But in Meryn's mind, she says, "In my mind, images swirl. Anassa running in the moonlight, racing down the mountainside faster than the wind, sun rising, rays blinding and beautiful, a crown, its metal glinting, then drenched in blood." What do we think? Is this a vision of the future?
Yeah, I really struggle with, is this a vision of the future? Or is this a glimpse of Meryn going mad in the same way her mother has gone mad? Like, I I don't
Like
know,
a
the
foreshadowing.
crown though. Well, yeah, either or. Like, is this foreshadowing for the future? Is this a vision of the future, or is Meryn seeing things and going mad? Because we've started to see her descent into madness and into her mother's madness. So when I read this, and I don't know if I'm decided even now if this is one of Meryn's vision of madness, or is this actually the future?
Yeah. I actually kind of thought at the end of the book, rereading this before we recorded, that this might also be a look at the past.
That's what I was
of
thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
when the crown fell and the new ruling family took over. Like maybe this is Anassa's memory of what happened and
like
how
saving the actual crown.
Yes, exactly.
Because she doesn't have a rider on her.
No, she's racing. She's she's purposeful. I gotta go do this thing. I'm going to it's drenched in blood. People have been murdered, but I'm going to save this for the future, knowing. And she's kind of putting these images in her mind.
It's kind of interesting
like
you say that because we don't know Anassa's age, for one. It's been 500 years of the current ruling family. So if Anassa is hundreds of years old, presumably she could have actually been there. She was not bonded to the queen that fell, but it's not to say she couldn't have been alive when that happened. And I don't think I ever made that connection that she could have literally been alive and seen that happen. And that's why she's been waiting. I don't think I even made that connection until now.
She could have been alive, or she could have also just been like how wolves in a pack, like an alpha, can talk to others and
like
kind of project images.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's this purpose maybe has been passed down to Anassa through her own bloodline or something. I think it could be either one, but I when I reread it, I was like, oh, I think that's actually a view of the past.
I hope so, because I would like her not to have struggles in the future. I would like this to be just smooth
I'd like this book to be a nice little cozy romantasy for book 2.
Bad news, ladies.
Can I take Kelly's approach?
I also, all right, there you go. I do like that moment where she's just like drawn into her too.
Yeah.
Like I take a step forward before I'm even realizing that I'm looking at her and physically being drawn towards her. It's so cool.
The pull of the magic of the power. I love that.
Although she immediately says, wait, I take it back. I don't want to see that. I don't want to bond to you. Now that we know what we know, what are our thoughts towards Anassa in this moment? Like they've bonded. Wouldn't you think that she would be encouraging the bond? Like, I don't know, looking back on it, I feel like I wish Anassa, like I guess Anassa can immediately read her thoughts and read that she's not ready, but it is a little disappointing to me that she's not a little bit more encouraging right now.
I don't disagree with that. I actually struggled with their quote unquote bond the entire book. I felt it was a whole lot of tell, not see. And for me personally, because I didn't have that see, which I very much crave, like you can't just tell me things are the way they are. I need to actually see it. So not seeing the bond forming and them not actually having the connection, but just being told later that somehow they're forming a connection. I just didn't buy it really. And I also thought that Anassa, from the get-go, as you said, like she literally doesn't even help her. She's not talking to her. She doesn't even help her down the mountain. And it's like you're hundreds of years old and you know who you've just bonded to. She's rejecting you out of probably a lot of fear. And you just have this closed off view to her and you don't take it upon yourself as the more experienced partner in this bond to help her out. I, even towards the end of the book, never thought that Anassa had enough accountability to how she reacted to the bond and how she also kind of rejected Meryn. And I just didn't kind of like that lack of accountability.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I don't fully agree, but I don't disagree either. So like
go in the middle.
I was disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed because I wanted them to have this incredible bonding experience too. I think I didn't anthropomorphize her character as much maybe as you did, because I was like, this is a dog. Like a wolf is a dog. You know what I mean? Like,
she would
they don't
bite
think like humans.
your head
Yeah,
off.
like they have different like pack mentality, like what they care about, their hierarchy of needs, like all these things is different. And so I was like, they're not humans, they're dogs, they're wolves. So like I can't begin to understand what that means.
But then why bother to bond with her?
Right. Well, that's the part that I was like, there was something else there. I don't know what it is. I was bummed that it wasn't happening for them. And I was like, there's got to be something that, like, I think I was just so hopeful because I knew they were going to bond because it's the whole point of the friggin' book. And so I was like, it's going to happen. Like, so what is why is this like this? And so I was just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as fully disappointed as you guys were, but I also was like, oh man, like I wanted to see that relationship earlier. Once we found out why, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I can appreciate it a little bit more. But like, I was craving the creature human friendship connection. I wanted to be able to talk into her head. I wanted to be able to like, I wanted that earlier than we got it. But I also was like, okay, this is a dog. So like, I can't be mad at her. Like, it's like my friend who won't talk to me. Cause like, I didn't see it that way.
Well, now that you know what you know though, do you view it differently? Like, are you disappointed knowing
she can talk
what Anassa knows and knowing, like it is,
No.
is your still no? Okay.
No,
Cause I would think you would be more disappointed in Anassa's reaction in this moment.
No, I was less disappointed. No, I felt like I understood her reasoning a little bit more. And I also kind of agree. This was the book where she was like, she wasn't ready. And if we told her too early, like it would have actually been the opposite. Like, yeah. So
which when we get to that quote, let's put a pin in that one. I got thoughts about that rationale.
I believed that she knew what she was talking about. Anassa knew what she was talking about in this moment. And even though I don't like that she couldn't tell her.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all had moments. I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I wish you would have told me that thing. And then someone older and wiser / your own parent is like, you be 100% real. Would you have done this thing? And you're like, no, I want to believe that I would have done that thing or said that thing, but I probably wouldn't have. And so I don't know. I have this sense of that she knows more than we even realize she does. And so I was not as upset with it. But again, I was reading this book for the vibes, apparently. So I was just going with it.
That's fair. Yeah. But I mean, even though the fact that she it's not to say their oath said she couldn't talk to her. She literally just chooses not to talk to her. Mm-hmm. Like, I think if it had been explained away in such a way that she literally, the oath somehow bound her bond from fully forming, I could have been totally on board with the behavior because the bond itself could not have been fully formed because of this oath and all of this stuff. But I mean, there's nothing to say where she can't literally just say, this shit sucks. Climb on board. Let's get down the fucking mountain. Like, she literally just doesn't talk and snarls and growls. And I'm like,
Yeah,
do
but
more.
to me, I'm
I was
like,
a little
that's
disappointed.
There are dragons that talk and you don't have a problem with that. And they don't even exist in real life.
No, I know. But like, there are dragons that are also mean and grumbly too and do some silly things. But that's why I was like, I didn't see them as much as a character because she didn't talk as much. I think in the beginning, I didn't see her as that much of a character with like opinions. That's a terrible way to say it, but if that makes sense.
I just look at it like, especially looking at it in hindsight, like Anassa could have done so much more to help guide Meryn along the way. And I'm a little disappointed, especially in this moment, because she could have easily gone into her mind and been like, look, I know this is hard. Like, I know you don't want this, but let's do this together. Like, there wasn't any of that encouragement or anything like that. And I think I'm a little disappointed.
You wanted it.
Yes.
I wanted that. And even though we know about now that they're cursed, she couldn't tell her who she truly was. I feel like she could have done a better job of, I know you don't want this. I can see in your mind that you're not ready for this, but let's get there together. And
trust me or something.
I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that she just was like, oh, you don't want to be with me? Fine, fuck off. I don't want to be with you either.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know a little bit more information than she does, so don't be so...
Yeah. No,
You know?
I
don't
get that.
know. Yeah.
I totally get that reasoning. That's why I'm like, I'm not like I wasn't super upset about it, but I also wasn't like, yes, I love the bond from the beginning. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
more of that.
Yeah,
sure.
it's like you struggle to say like, well, you rejected the bond instantly, and it's like, okay, well, you also didn't talk instantly, so you did not form a bond back to me.
Yeah.
But all of this,
And I told you I didn't want a bond, and you
side.
did it anyway. So like, obviously, I'm going to be upset about it.
Yeah, but
you know
all
what I
of
mean?
a sudden, this is one-sided. It's all my fault. You have no accountability.
Yeah.
You are a 100-year-old wolf, and you can talk in the brain. I have more expectations of you.
Talk in the brain.
Talk in the brain.
Yep.
And then a quote from Mr. Stark-Therian here. You and your wolf must make it back to the training center in the castle before nightfall. From that point forward, you will officially be considered a Rawbound, a trainee. If you do not make it in time, do not bother trying to enter the castle, because if you fail, Stark goes on, leaning against his direwolf's leg and crossing his arms, your connection with your wolf will sever and you will die. Good luck. Oh,
Bye.
okay.
From here on out, you will die.
Just like that.
If you fail,
will die.
you
Good
will
luck.
die.
Bye. This is one of those moments where I was like, well, this bastard. He was true enemies to me, like true enemies to lovers. And that's why I think I liked it. Took so long for me to be like, I know that he's going to be the one, but like, why is how?
Yeah,
how is this going to
how are we
happen?
getting there?
And so
Yeah.
I like that it took me so long because I hated them so much.
Good for them, because usually enemies to more is like, oh, they just strongly disliked each other.
Minor
No,
inconveniences
quite
to
literally,
lovers.
they wanted to kill each other.
Yes.
And could not, and were very angry that they could not kill each other. And I'm like, good. At least we are solid enemies. I am appreciating
solid
that
in the trope.
We're solid in the trope. We're not.
Yep.
We're not pussyfoot in this one.
Great word.
Well, on her part.
He really
knew
hated,
that they weren't enemies.
No,
Yeah,
but he
he knew.
hated her with a fiery passion of,
Yeah.
like, quite literally, if she was not who she was, I think he would have been fine with, let's just cull this bitch. She doesn't deserve to be in the pack.
Right. But
Yeah.
he knows the whole time that they're eventually going to be on the same side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So half-sided enemies.
You know? Yeah.
Lopsided enemies.
And then I loved this quote from Meryn. She doesn't realize what a stubborn bitch I am. I'll get down the mountain with or without her useless furry ass.
But good for her.
Yeah. I just was like, these two are made for each other.
Mhm.
This is hilarious. I
Yep.
love that.
Yep.
Her useless furry ass.
Yeah. And then she gets to the bottom and she goes, she's there. She's just right there. The fucking bitch. Anassa stalks towards me, heavy paws crunching on snow, puffs of vapor huffing from her nose. She walks with her head low beneath her shoulders, her ears forward, her gaze steady on me, coat silvery white against the snow. A ghost. She was following me. She was right there the entire time watching me descend.
The fucking bitch.
I know.
Useless furry ass.
Hilarious. I was like, I'm gonna like
but
the two of them eventually.
It's like, why? I guess knowing what we know, she was there. She did make sure she got
She
down.
was watching out, but she let her do it on her own.
Watching out, but she let her do it on. She let her learn her own lessons.
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't need to learn our own lessons, and maybe we can encourage this bond.
Right. But maybe don't call her useless furry bitch.
She deserves
And then
it.
expect her to
You.
be like, "Oh, I love you. Let me help you."
You know what?
Like,
Honestly,
they kind of do it to each other.
you were a useless furry bitch. You could have helped.
Yeah. Literally, you female dog, you bitch.
You female dog.
All right, so a little bit of world building here. I know we talked about the 4 packs in our last episode, but just as a reminder, our 4 packs here are Strategos, the leaders. We have Kryptos, the spies. Deimos, the warriors. And Phylax, the guardians. The Hufflepuffs. I did really like when they're taking the tour and they look at each of the different training rooms and they describe the different training rooms differently. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like some of them were like kind of an obstacle course. Some of them had like practice fighting dummies. I liked that little bit of insight into each of the packs. I thought that was very much show, don't tell about how pack dynamics would work. And I really appreciated that.
Yep. So she makes it finally. She sees Anassa. She is officially a Rawbound. and finally get to go to bed. So they go into the sleeping quarters, and Meryn is constantly, every turn, surprised by the amount of privilege that the bonded have. But we do get a really good quote here that maybe shows a little bit of some of the struggles and the not so great side of being a bonded. Quote, "For a bonded family, there's no such thing as failure. If you fail to bond in your trials, you're out. You're dead to them, not one of them any longer." So they're pretty cutthroat, the bonded.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think this is there so that we start to see the difference between the commoners and the bonded, and kind of Meryn's very lopsided impression of what it means. And, you know, obviously she sees all the wealth, all the opulence. And at first she is very much, especially in this stretch of the book, like, what did they do to deserve this? And then I love the transition as we get into the book where she starts to actually feel herself as one of the bonded.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting little character arc and character development that we get to see. So what do we all think of the trials and the fact that the wolves cull the pack? Like, I know we hear in the end what it actually means, that the king has manipulated the wolves, all of that. But I think that I don't know, I would think that they would want as many bonded as they can and pack strength. And so I'm curious what all of your thoughts are about wanting to cut people.
I kind of struggled with this when we get. I was fine with it until we actually got to the end, and Anassa is like, the trials can be whatever you want. We can just have everybody bonding. And I'm like, okay, so we just had all of that gore, all of that horror, all of that murder for something that didn't need to happen. Because I mean, I do understand in major points the king literally commands with that sword, and the wolves have no option but to obey. But in a lot of those instances, the wolves obey, but already had a plan on who they were going to cull anyway. So they were on board with that fact anyway. It was almost as if their nature. So then to Anassa to just kind of write it off and say they can be whatever you want them to be in the future, then I'm kind of like, well, then why weren't they that way now? Like, I understand you can't help when the king commands you to cull the pack, but in all the other instances where he didn't and you did, why did you? If you needed to build up direwolf bonded reserves and you just allowed the slaughter to continue. So that's one aspect of it where I kind of really struggle, because I don't think the explanations actually made it more difficult for me than what we were originally just presented with just the trials as they are.
Yeah. I didn't love that they did this. But I kind of got the sense from reading it that they didn't have a choice, and that even though he only commanded them they knew what he was going to do and then what he was going to command. And so I feel like they almost got so used to the fact that, well, this is the way it is, this is how the king wants it, that they almost started to be complicit in it.
Yeah.
And feel like, oh, well, this is what he's going to do, so I guess this is just what's going to happen. And so I don't know if I believe that they were actually okay with it, or if they were just like, well, if we don't do it, he's going to command us to, and we won't have a choice anyway. And so that was a little hard for me too. But I also, like, the explanation to me just wrote off, well, he manipulated them and they had no choice, and that is what it is. So I didn't read that much further into it, but I started to get the sense that it was like they're complicit, because even if they try to make a different choice, I think they just, from experience, from history, know, well, the king's not going to let that fly anyway, so he might as well just do what he wants.
Lindsey, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the struggle with it of, you just, as a wolf, like, you just bonded. If you in the pack don't believe that person was worthy of it, then why did you do it?
In the first place, yeah.
Yeah, like, they talk about how they know who they are and they know their intention. And so if that bond is so strong, then why would you feel the need to cull those members of the pack?
Yeah.
Because in culling members of the pack, you're also culling the wolves.
Right. Which is wild to me.
Why would you want to diminish those numbers? Like, I don't know. I just had...
Yeah,
it
for
didn't
sure.
quite sit right with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I could better understand cull the pack, but the wolf doesn't die and they go on to bond again in the
Yes.
future kind of thing,
Yeah.
because that at least is self-preserving for the wolf pack.
Yes.
But yeah,
Especially because it's like we're going to make these determinations over 4 months.
right.
4 months.
And
Oh, you're
sometimes
worthy.
even less than that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
A couple weeks in.
did we
Yeah.
give this the old college try, really, guys?
Yeah. I think I would have a better understanding of this practice if I knew more about the history of the wolves.
Mm.
I think not knowing so much about how that works and about their background, maybe some of this will make more sense as to why they do this. But for now, it doesn't quite make
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You
That was
know?
hard.
Yep.
Then we get another dream, right? She's dreams Lumina again. And I do find it interesting that actually is just completely a cliffhanger. Now that you point it out, I didn't realize that was not at all addressed by the end of the book. So it's like she's dreaming of that, and we're still sitting here now being like, I don't know what that means, actually, guys.
Lumina be. Yeah, exactly. But she's kind of woken up this is the point where she's woken up quickly, right? She doesn't really have a chance to think about the dream.
Yep.
And then she realizes, she looks around, everyone else is like, oh, they're getting ready. And one of the twins, I don't remember which one, says, tidy your hair, maybe looks madder around here.
Yep.
Yikes.
I also,
Brush your hair, bitch.
it actually bothered me. She literally did all of that shit, fell down pretty much an entire mountain, and she's like, I'm just too tired to go to bed. And I was like,
I
sweetie,
know,
get
take a
a
shower.
bath. I'm
Seriously.
sorry. You need
Get
to
in the bath.
bathe.
Get your butt in bed. Yep. 100%. 100%.
And the wolves we see that live outside on the terraces totally makes sense. The first time I read it, I was like, oh,
Why not?
That's where dogs
Sure.
belong. Oh, totally.
that's where dogs belong.
Your absolute love of dragons, and you're constantly like, it's a dog. This is where dogs live.
It's a dog.
It's a dog.
It's a dog. No, but here's the thing. I love dogs.
No,
Oh, he's not in here.
but you're
I
like,
love 'em.
you have no expectation of
It's a
them.
dog.
But dragons, you have such expectations of them.
Well, because they're not real. I think because I don't have anything real to compare them
So
to.
you don't have a
Direwolves
dragon?
Don't exist, Kelly.
No,
Let me
but-
just
but
point
dogs
that
do.
out.
Dogs do.
But
Yes,
it's
they do.
Not a dog, but a direwolves do
Direwolf.
not exist.
Didn't they just bring direwolves back?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they
that
did.
was like a whole thing.
I think you're right.
is that they
did.
just reintroduced direwolf DNA, and someone pointed out, they're like, whoever reintroduced direwolf DNA and did not name the first direwolf ghost is a complete idiot.
Yeah.
From Game of
Direwolf
Thrones.
DNA.
Oh my God,
Yes.
they are real.
It was like
They're an
literally just in the
extinct
news.
Species of large, powerful,
No longer.
canines. They lived,
But no
roughly-
longer
Recent
extinct.
research
Correct.
used ancient
Correct.
DNA from fossils
Like-
to de-extinct
Correct.
the direwolf.
And it was literally just a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
They lived roughly
And they didn't name 'em
2.5
ghosts.
million years ago.
Oh my God, they're so stinking cute. Anyway, but that's why, because, but no, I don't mean it in like a bad way that like it makes sense that like they're dogs. Like I mean it as like, that's where they would
Okay,
want to be.
You definitely
know what I mean?
can't ride this thing, though. I mean, like Stark, like the description of the direwolves, at least in this universe, is it's
Can't ride.
bigger than a horse.
Oh yeah.
Real life direwolf,
Not
I
so
wouldn't
much.
ride it. You might. hurt
No,
its
probably
back.
not. Probably not. I think Rigatoni should be a direwolf.
He-
What if I could bond with Rigatoni?
He
My
wouldn't
dog is
cull
Rigatoni.
Oh God, I
Anybody.
couldn't imagine.
He's not culling
what
anybody.
is
He's gonna
going
go
on
be
in
like,
his head.
everyone friend.
Everyone friend. if friend shaped, why not friend? He's the dumbest, most beautiful creature, but I would love to bond with him and just read his thoughts. He would
I
be the
feel like
opposite.
You say that, but after a day, you'd be like, I can't listen to this.
No,
anymore.
no, because he'd be the opposite of Anassa and like refusal to communicate. He would communicate
Over-communicate.
so fucking much. I'd be like, I've had enough communication for my lifetime.
Friend.
Between
friend,
him and my
friend.
son,
Squirrel.
I would never hear silence ever again because my son talks from the moment he wakes up. Anyway, off topic, but I would love to bond and be able to talk to Rigatoni.
The menacing.
But I mean that in a nice way, that like the dogs, it makes sense that they would live on the terraces. They're wolves. They're like,
Makes sense.
I like it.
Outside. Yep.
Outside in nature,
but
protecting, overlooking everything.
But at least the palace is big enough and made for wide hallways for direwolves as well. So they did at least give that
very
consideration.
Nice.
I do love that, because it would be weird to me if the direwolves were inside. To me, that would be like disrespectful to them, because like they belong in nature. You know, like they're wild.
And
so
they got no thumbs. They did not build this structure.
That's right. They sure did not. Okay, so we know that the trials and their Rawbound training is 4 months long, and they're broken up into different sections, right? We had the ascent that already happened. Then we have the forging period and the proving period. So we have within the forging period, which is the first 2 months, we have the voice trial, which they have 1 month until they get there. And can someone remind me what the voice trial?
Just proving you can communicate with your direwolf effectively in a combat situation.
Got it. Cool. So, as they have said. And then they have the purge trial.
What she said.
What she said. They have the purge trial, which is followed by the forging ball. Then after the forging ball, they get into the proving period, which ends in the unity trial, which is the mock battle. So curious what you all think about these different periods and trials, anything that kind of stuck out to you or that you want to kind of dive into a little bit, because they're intense, to say the least.
Yeah, but it all kind of made sense to me. Like, if you're going to bond to a wild animal, I don't think that 4 months in my mind would be enough time before I send you out to the war front. But it also seems to be a pretty dire situation with the war, and has been for a long time.
No pun intended.
So all of these things, like, okay, yeah, you need to be able to speak to each other. You need to be able to work together. Like, they all made sense to me. I just wish training was a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was a little bit too battle centric. I was like, and I'm surprised, Lindsay, you didn't think so too. Lindsay would be like, guys, we need to spend a lot more time in the library. You need to learn
some
stuff.
stuff.
I literally wrote in my book, and I'm pretty sure I pointed out, I think it's in the next episode, I was like, why are we not taking like a direwolf one-on-one class?
Yes.
And then literally in the next chapter is when leader Aldrich comes and takes her and Henry and is like, hey, we realized that the two of you have probably missed out on a lot of direwolf information that we assume that most bonded already know. And so I think, Katharine, to your point, I think I kept telling myself that in my head of like, oh, well, they were raised as bonded. So I assume that they already know a lot of this background.
Right.
And so
it's
they're
common
focusing
knowledge
on the battle stuff because that's what they need as a group, but they already should know this.
Right. They're in there for the bonded. They're in their final 4 months of this.
That is
because they've been planning for this their whole life. Yeah.
Okay.
Versus Henry and Meryn, who are like, what do you mean I have 4 months? They know nothing.
That I actually can, now it sits a little bit better with me now that you're like, this is the final 4 months, not the
final
only 4 months. Although I will say, to your point, Lindsay, when they're like taking her and Henry aside and she's basically like, this stuff is just going in one ear and out the other, I'm like, Lindsay would be yelling at you right now to take your notes.
Oh,
like,
pay
attention, girl.
Pay attention. Your notebook.
Yeah, for sure.
Lisa Frank notebook.
Took so many notes in that chapter.
You would have been like, guys, is there a quiz? Let's do this.
Almost the entirety of our outline from episode 1 was information that I probably took from that chapter.
That's so funny. That's perfect.
And so we get introduced to our instructors here as well. So we have Leader Aldrich, who is the head of Rawbound training, who to me was just like a nice old man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I actually expected him to be like evil at some point, and when he didn't, I was like, oh,
good for you.
He's a nice old man.
Nice
okay. I'm expecting duplicity at every turn, and you're just a nice old man.
You're becoming a New Yorker, and I like it.
You are
I don't trust you. I don't trust you. It's funny because I trust people in fantasy books, but not people in real life.
And I'm like, there's
the opposite.
I don't trust anything a fantasy book, but any person in real life. Just come join my daisy
I'm like,
field.
Oh, no.
These are her thoughts.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
She's
I need to lock
unreliable.
my daisy field, and you just tell me a password, and I need to know who your family is before I let you into my daisy field. So Leader Aldrich, nice old man.
Yep. We get Alpha, Stark Therian of Deimos, who is the fighting instructor, of course.
Our growly
Beta.
boy.
Our growly boy. We have Beta, Egith Hartsfield of Strategos, who is the pack of battle strategy. She is Meryn's CO
Yeah.
for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes,
Yeah.
right? Samson White, the Gamma of Kryptos, which is the pack of communication and concealment. Elenot Gardner, who is the Gamma, or I should say a Gamma of Phylax, who is the pack of history and pack dynamics. Or this is what these instructors are leading based on their packs.
Important to point out that of those instructors, Stark is the only alpha who is here. Every other alpha and some of the betas are away. They're with their bigger packs. They're not here as instructors. But Stark, who is the alpha of the entire pack, is not at the front. He is here for very specific reasons that we learn later. But I remember reading this and I was like, oh, how come all the other packs don't get their alpha? And then I realized, wait a minute, no. Why is he here? If he's the alpha, shouldn't he be out there like doing some more important things? So just a little bit of fun.
And he mentions he's pissed about that.
Yes.
He doesn't want
And
to be
Meryn
here.
questions it too, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
Meryn say
She
why?
does.
And they're like, well, we don't know the intentions
How
of the
they
sovereign
make decisions.
alpha, but the sovereign alpha is his mother.
Mama.
Yes, exactly. But when I was reading through this and I was like,
Yeah, I can't wait to see how the sovereign alpha comes into play as well, because obviously she knows the family line. She is that guardian. She is that protector. And so I can't wait for her character to come into book 2 to become more important.
Yeah.
There.
Mm-hmm.
It's personal history.
Love it.
Meryn goes to talk to Egith, and Egith knows nothing about the Nabbers, which kind
Zero.
of throws Meryn off, right? And then Meryn tries to run away, and she feels immense pain being away from Anassa. And so we get a quote either from Isabella or Venna after she gets back, but they say, it isn't just something you can overcome through sheer determination. Only time and trust can strengthen the bond enough to allow distance. So unless you can convince your direwolf to take off to the front with you.
You're stuck here, bitch. Get used to it. Start bonding.
Right. Yes. And it is a really good, just little thing for the author to throw in there for people like us to go, well, why didn't you just leave?
Just leave. Right.
Well, here's
You
why.
can't, because you'll
Simple
literally die.
little explanation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. And then Isabella and Venna, kind of sadly, again, I think this is in there just to give us another perspective about the bonded other than what Meryn's offhanded perception is. But Isabella and Venna tell Meryn that no one thinks that both of them would have survived because of Venna's hearing disability and because they were weak links to each other. But their parents did have faith in them that they would make it. So kind of just a sad perception of the bonded there, but a good perception of their family, right?
And then we get to presentation. And one, she finally takes a fucking bath. That was literally, I cannot tell you how every interaction I'm like, get in the shower, please. Why are you still not in the shower? She finally gets in the shower and I'm like, thank fuck, you smell bad, lady. Shower.
And it's glorious.
You climbed a mountain.
Yes. And fell down it.
And touched a wolf.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
But we get presentation, and it's where this is what she is told about presentation, because she's like, what is this? I've got a wolf. what is the need here?
Right.
And it's also actually a more introduction into like what their court life is, right? Nobles from all over the kingdom have come because they kind of think of this as like a Hunger Games, like thrilling entertainment to watch these bonding trials take place and to basically just see, oh, look at all these people, these new bonded, and they're dressing up for us. This is such entertainment for us. And so she's told that presentation is where we're put in front of the royals to show off the new class of recruits. Nobles from across the 7 fiefdoms come to see us too, and we dress up. Yeah, we have to worry about rankings, but that's not all of it. The royals, the nobles, well, we're the pride of Nocturna, the best of the best, not just for fighting, we're, well, on display. And she goes on to say rankings, like, will be assigned numbers or something based on how fuckable we look tonight. And Isabel laughs, but shakes her head. Each pack has its own rankings. Obviously, each pack is led by an alpha, then a beta, and a couple of gammas. None of us Rawbounds have titles like that yet, but the wolves are always watching what we do, and there's a hierarchy amongst them. The pack will try to pick people off who fall to the bottom of the ranks. So she's like, hello, perception matters. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get ready for it.
And also, yes, you're going in front of the king and the nobles. Wash your hair.
Right.
Take a bath.
Clean up. I also love, I didn't even realize this until just now, but it's like a little bit of foreshadowing here too. None of us Rawbounds have titles like that yet.
Yeah,
Just
right?
you wait. Just you wait, Venna.
Oh my God,
I'm kidding. I love you, Venna.
I just read this. I love that you put this in here, Lindsey. Meryn takes a bath. You literally wrote it in
Meryn takes a bath. But they're not private. Why are they not private? Or at least we have co-ed baths. Like, and it's kind of explained away, like, we don't, like, like, we're on the war front. Like, vanity doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I got that feeling too, Lindsey. That whole whatever
really?
they're trying to project, I'm kind of feeling the same vibe
That's
here.
so funny.
Like, you can
No,
be on the
I didn't get that.
warfront and still not have to bathe with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
You didn't,
Especially in the palace. Like, in the opulence.
Yeah.
and they
of the
didn't have to treat
palace.
it so
Like,
trivially. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of got that they just were so comfortable. Like, they're all beautiful. They're all fit. I just don't think that they care as much because it's not like I don't think they feel shame maybe in the same way that like we do or that like maybe the commoners would. And so it's just like, yeah, you have a great body. Like, I think they're just more, your body is your body.
I could have taken that if they hadn't then gone the hedonistic route of basically everybody's going to start having an orgy because we want it to make our own direwolves mate each other, which we find out later is complete misinformation.
Yeah.
And it's an excuse.
I just think they're so comfortable with it. They're like, we're all gonna have sex, and so why would we care if we can shower? Like, we're all gonna watch it. It's all out in the open.
I guess it strengthens the idea too, because when you said that, you're like, oh, they're all good looking, they're all attractive, and in my mind, I'm like, well, what if there's like a not good looking bonded, but that person wouldn't have made it, like the person that's not fit or wasn't, like that's literally what they're bred for, and we're told early on, if you don't make it, you're out. So I guess they've just gotten so used to it over the years. But I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, poor Meryn. Like, she's just not used to that. That's
so
crazy.
funny. I didn't even think about that. But wasn't she alone though for her first bath? Like, no one was in there because it was like the timing.
But then they
really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right. And
then one of the twins says to her, quote, "The hair is attention grabbing, but you're not clearly trying to win his eye. Some of the other women here are more obviously vying for that." And then she goes on, "Unless, of course, the king chooses you. That one's not optional. Every time there are bonding trials, King Cyril picks a Rawbound to be his companion for the duration of the 4 months."
Ick.
Right. Gross. So you're not being judged by your looks, but you're absolutely totally being judged by your looks, and maybe also you'll become the king's whore.
Yep.
And that's
you
not a choice.
have to be fine with it. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then she's walking to presentation and, quote, "A sudden pulse fills my head, an aching pressure gathers behind my eyes, insistent and strong. Over the hum of the crowd and the crunch of our footsteps, I start to hear other sounds, low hissing noises. Is that whispering?"
No, Meryn, that's foreshadowing.
No, Meryn. Now, she has not, to my knowledge, gotten these dreams until she starts to enter the castle, right?
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And they came on hard and fast, too.
Yeah.
Right. So was her mother... How did her mother get them? Like, was it just a slower burn?
Yeah. That was my impression.
Right? And now that Meryn is close to the crown itself and close to the castle, that they're coming on hard and fast, right?
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. And it's more just the fact that, like, she would have slowly appeared to lose her mind, but now she can just, well, appear to lose her mind really quickly.
Immediately. Insane.
Poor thing.
And Anassa knows this whole damn time, and she
sure
does
does.
not even
Can't say
offer
nothing.
the thought of, I can see you're struggling with these visions. What are those? Can't talk about them. But I would like you to spend a little bit more of your alone time thinking through these thoughts.
Well, doesn't she have a wall up at this point? Aren't they not actually in each other's heads?
But she takes it down before, like, she obviously takes it down. It's not like a 4-month like blockade of thoughts between her and Anassa.
But it is blocked for a long time.
Yes, but then she starts getting those visions when she's not blocking Anassa, and that's where I'm kind of like, Anassa, you could have mentioned, hey, take a few moments, think about
at some
the thoughts.
point Anassa does say to her, she was
does
like,
want
hey, you should pay attention to those dreams. Like, dreams mean something, you should pay attention
Yeah,
to them.
and one time, I'm like, I'm sorry,
One time, right.
like let's harp on this. Like, let's show that, hey, she won't shut up about this thing. Maybe I should actually pay attention. Like,
Yeah.
Kelly, if you start having visions of you being a queen and I can't tell you that, I'm gonna start saying, Kelly, have you been thinking about those thoughts? Did you think about those thoughts today? Kelly, can you please be thinking?
Any
about
thoughts on
these
those thoughts? Yeah, I get that. We get a quote that gives us more information too about this wildly powerful blade that they have. So, quote, King Cyril mounts a raised platform and crosses to the big jeweled throne at the center of the balcony. He sits and lifts a golden sword across his knee. I can't see the weapon clearly, but I know the stories. It's the Diren or Diren? What have you been saying?
Iron blood.
It's the fuck have you been saying?
Darn blade. The darn blade,
Yoo-hoo,
y'all.
big summer blowout.
It's the darn blade.
Okay.
Darn blood.
But I know the stories. Okay, I can't see the weapon clearly, but I know the stories. It's the Deeren Blade, the fabled weapon that supposedly gives him power over all the direwolves, bonded and unbonded alike. They say the pommel is shaped like a glowering direwolf's head. It was a gift bestowed upon his ancestors hundreds of years ago by the faceless goddess, or so the story goes. Yeah, likely story. You sure about that? You sure about that? She offered it as a means to right the balance between humans and direwolves back when the wolves still hunted us like cattle.
Lies.
And no truths were told in that entire story. Except for the fact that it's called the Diren Blade.
Darn blood.
Deeren Blade.
Diren Blade. Diren Blade.
I don't like saying it that way, Kelly. That's so boring.
I like saying the darn
Deeren Blade.
I like saying the darn blade. Like
the
I'm
Diren
Southern.
Blade. Very southern. The
There's
Diren Blade.
There's some darn blade over there.
The
Hey,
Diren Blade.
Can I get that darn blade?
Can
Can I pet that Diren Blade?
Darn blood.
Yoo-hoo, big summer
Big
blowout.
summer blowout. And then the last moment, the shocker.
Yup.
She looks up and meets the eyes of the prince, and it is Lee.
Lee.
That bitch.
I know we said this earlier. I was shocked. Katharine was not shocked.
I was shocked.
Kelly was shocked.
I literally let loose a string of explicitives that ended with, you motherfucker.
Oh, I had negative reactions, but I
for sure.
was just not, I did not see that coming.
I think literally I highlighted it, and my comment literally says, I fucking knew it.
I love it.
Yeah, I knew that I couldn't trust Lee. I did not guess that
He was the
would
prince.
be the prince.
No.
I think
I didn't
again,
guess that either. That's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't guess he was the prince.
You just knew that he was
knew
not
when
who he said he
did,
was.
More.
But when I did see it in this moment, I was like, yep. I was shocked, but like I knew that he was not going to turn out to be a good guy. Like
Yeah.
this is not where we're at.
My comment to that is actually a little bit longer. I'm going to actually read it to you. I knew he wasn't
Let's hear it.
I knew he wasn't a servant. So why did he end up with her? She hates the royal family and their ignorance and failure to do anything to help the lower class. Lee knows the struggles they go through. So he lied. And now everything he does from here seems like a manipulation. He can't be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
That bitch.
But it is an excellent ending to this set of chapters.
Oh, very well
An
done, Lindsey.
excellent cliffhanger. Oh, thank you.
Oh, perfect, Lindsey.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
truly.
Well done.
I will be now gifted with a deer and blood.
The deer and blood. I gift you the deer and blood.
Now we're
Deer
Russian.
and-
Oh,
one
A
deer and blood.
oh.
Two deer and
blood. A 3?
Please make a please just
Holy
with like no context, but just us saying deer and blood,
Deer and blood.
deer and blood,
Deer and blade.
Just please
the
clip
deer
that.
and blade.
Please clip that
The deer
within the
and
next few plays.
the deer and blade. The deer and blood.
She's gonna be like, I don't want you guys supporting me.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I'm good.
You're
Let's not
you're
meet.
too insane for me.
Please don't tag me in things.
Please stop. I don't want to be associated with your brand. Your particular brand of insanity.
You guys
okay.
have a vibe. Not sure what it is, but it's there.
It's not mine.
Vibing.
It's not my vibe. I just had a random thought about, I know at this point we've heard mention of the faceless goddess, I think once, maybe twice, but she constantly, Meryn says, oh, thank the goddess, oh, goddess. Like it's used as an expletive sort of thing. And I don't know, I just think that it's interesting that, and maybe it's a commoner thing
Probably.
that's been passed down through history, but I had thoughts, because especially at this point when we really had not been introduced to the faceless goddess at this point, other than just like saying her name in passing, I had made a note in my book, like, I wonder why she keeps using the term goddess.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
All right.
So,
I'm
of note.
make a note to it because I bet it's going to come back and you'll be like, oh, I have a theory.
Well, I think it has. I think it's because of the faceless goddess and showing how she has stayed in history, but I noticed it on my first read. I wonder why she's saying this.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And at this point, we don't know much more about it.
The
True.
first time I saw the word goddess, I was like, Lindsay's going to be so happy.
Yeah.
I know.
Religion. Love a religion. Right. Well, Lindsay, you're right. That was the perfect spot to end for this set of chapters. So with that, we will wrap up episode 2 of our Direbound deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us for book club this week. Next time, we will be covering chapters 16 through 30. So be sure to join us for the next Fantasy Friday. Happy reading! Bye!